Today we're touring the San Francisco home of content creator Bergen Flom. Moving from New York to California, she was instantly charmed by the natural beauty around her and wanted to bring that into her own home.
I was very inspired by the color palette of the Redwood Forests, so I went with kind of this mossy green for this rug, and then for my sofa went with this rust color.
She reveals how she makes the most out of a small space.
I don't have like a little eating area or eat-in kitchen or anything like that. So I had to get creative. So I just immediately thought, you know, this is a corner. I looked through a lot of inspiration online and really landed on the idea of a dining nook.
Shows us the furniture she designed herself.
I wanted it to be pretty compact, not too big, but also be, you know, kind of a statement piece in a room. It really reflects light beautifully, but also depending on the time of day and the lighting, it kind of disappears.
And highlights the unique art pieces she's collected throughout her travels. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Bergen. Welcome to my apartment in the most beautiful city in the United States, San Francisco. Come on in. Hi, I'm Bergen Flom. You're here in my apartment in San Francisco, and I am a home design, interior design content creator. I really ended up in this apartment on happenstance. I was living in Brooklyn in New York, actually. I'd been there for 4 years, absolutely loved it. But then my partner got his dream job in San Francisco, and we were like, let's go for it. I mean, it just felt like one of those moments where at first we were really, you know, hesitant about the move, and then the more we thought about it, like, we both just got this really strong gut feeling that, you know, we might regret not taking a chance to explore another amazing place. And we really, like, long-term, he's from California, we met at school down in Southern California, so like our long-term plan was to come back here eventually, so it really aligned with our plans. We didn't think we'd be coming to Northern California, but it's been such a blessing. We absolutely love it here. This apartment that we're in today is actually the first apartment that we viewed, which never happened to me in New York, that the first apartment I viewed was the one that we ended up in. And so we ended up viewing a few more just to make sure we love this one just as much, but you know, we really were drawn to this area. We're close to Alamo Square Park, we're close to Nopa, we're kind of very central in the 7x7 square mile that is San Francisco, and, you know, love the access to be able to go downtown, but also go to, you know, the outside lands and just like Golden Gate Park, and so yeah. Also, I learned that this neighborhood is has the highest concentration of like historical, well-preserved Victorian homes, which I definitely I wouldn't say that like Victorian homes are something that I like really reflects my personal style, but I absolutely love to look at them. They're so beautiful, they're so detailed. I just always like walk around the neighborhood and admire all of the details, all the colors, you know, the fact that someone took so much time and effort to make, you know, something so beautiful and so detailed, I think is super special. And it really, really drew me to this area. But yeah, this apartment, obviously you'll see in the tour, but I love the wood inlaid floors. It has a lot of character. It is a 1920s Edwardian style building. We've got a lot of charm and a lot of kind of quirks that I love that the owner preserved. So yeah, I am really happy with it here. We've got the bay windows. That was something I absolutely wanted being in San Francisco. And yeah, it's been awesome. We've been here for almost a year. I think it'll be a year in next month. So yeah. So here we are in the entryway. We just walked down this long hall with the beautiful wood inlaid floors, and you come upon what is my bathroom here. I really wanted, again, to have kind of a moment with a fun shower curtain. This shower curtain it's from a small brand called Quiet Town Home. They're actually local, they're in Sausalito. And This style of shower curtain actually is a Japanese style where, I forgot what the exact word is, but you're supposed to take kind of the end bits and create something out of it. So that's what the shower curtain is inspired by, which I absolutely love, that there's a little bit of fun philosophy behind it. And then we have some art kind of surrounding here, and these are some pretty special pieces to me. This first one is kind of, the main one that you see when you walk in to my apartment. Is a piece that I created. Basically, I wanted more like sentimental art in my home, and so I took my partner. We went to these vintage photo booths in San Francisco. They're in other cities too, like LA, New York. But we went to these vintage photo booths and got our photos taken and made this collage out of it. I had these old book covers already, and they were kind of already in this state to be collaged with, so I just swapped the photos that were there with our photos and put it on this colored mat board, got a frame, and underneath is our very ugly electrical box. So I've always been scared to hang things above electrical boxes, but turns out you just have to do it very carefully and you won't get electrocuted. Actually, maybe electricians should tell us in the comments if that's true. But yeah, I really love this piece, and I love that when you come into my home, you immediately see me and my partner, and we live here, and just kind of being able to see us here on the wall and have a piece of us. And there's also just a fun memory attached to it of like going to get our photos taken. I've definitely recommended this as like kind of a fun way to, bring some more of that personal sentimental art into your home. And then above the bathroom door, this is actually a new piece. So kind of a long story. No, it's not that long of a story, but so my name is Bergen Flom, and both my first and last name are towns in Norway. And I recently was able to visit both towns just a couple weeks ago. Bergen is actually the second largest town in Norway, and Flom is a tiny fjord village. It's absolutely stunning. And this is from an artist in Bergen. And she creates these beautiful paintings and using colored pencil and paint. And I had such a great conversation with her in the historic district of Bergen. And I was really happy to bring home a piece of, that experience. And yeah, I'm very proud to, that my parents, gave me a name that holds some of my history and my heritage attached to it. And you'll kind of see throughout my home bits of my Norwegian, Scandinavian heritage. My partner has Sicilian and Mexican heritage. You'll also see influences from those kind of throughout the home. So it truly is a mashup of, our truly who we are and those bits and pieces of, our heritage and our background. So I think it's pretty cool to kind of be able to blend that with a partner. So yeah, that's that piece. I love it. And this is just a pretty one that I got in Sonoma at a vintage store a long time ago. But it's been with me. I've had it now for almost 10 years, so it's a very special piece. And then my bathroom is small but mighty. Renting in an apartment, you don't always get a large bathroom, but I think you can still have a lot of fun with bathrooms. They don't have to be all white. You can, play around with color. This little sun is from Mexico, little ceramic sun. And then this is a piece from an artist named Grace Vargason. She does these beautiful pieces. And yeah, I absolutely love this piece by Grace Vargason. She's an incredible artist, and you'll see throughout my home, pieces by artists, and a lot of them are people I've found through social media or friends of mine, and a lot of them are up-and-coming artists that are super talented, and yeah, I feel super grateful to have their pieces in my home. So this is the bathroom. So right as you walk in, you have a long hallway with beautiful checkered wood inlay floors that are original to the apartment. And then you see the bathroom right away at the end of the hallway, which is kind of a funny quirk about the place, but I actually really enjoyed spending a lot of time designing that bathroom to be something that would welcome you if you see it as you're walking in. And then right away to the right, you have kind of the main bedroom. This is a 2-bedroom apartment, but we decided for this first room to be our bedroom. And then to the left, you walk in and have a little entryway area. That's where I tossed down my purse, my keys, and the kitchen to your right there. And then directly in front of you, you have the living room. And then the second bedroom is to the left of that area. And we really made the second bedroom more of a home office slash guest room space, kind of a multi-use area. It's been amazing to host our friends and family, be able to provide them an extra room was honestly a dream of mine. In New York, we never had an extra room, so it's really nice in San Francisco to have a little bit more space. I would say my creative process when it comes to designing my spaces, really depends on the time and the space and the area that I'm in. So I was immediately very charmed and inspired by San Francisco. And I was really, had a lot of fun just blending my personal style with kind of that inspiration I was getting from the city and from the nature. So you'll see kind of throughout the home in the living room, I made a color palette kind of inspired by the Redwood Forest. There's really nothing like walking into a Redwood Forest for the first time. So I really enjoyed, bringing in those earthy tones and like kind of a mossy color and a redwood tone. And then in the bedroom, I initially went with kind of more ocean tones, and then I am such a lover of like color, and I really missed some of that pop of color, so I ended up making that space a bit more vibrant. But I really would say that my personal style is definitely more eclectic. It kind of, I really lean into whatever I'm inspired by at that moment. I am quite inspired by the 70s, by the 90s, and you'll see some of those influences in my home. But I would say that I really like making super cozy spaces, like especially in smaller spaces and apartments. I think leaning into the fact that it might be a bit smaller. And knowing that most people in the United States live in smaller spaces, like leaning into the cozy factor, I absolutely love. I want all of my spaces to feel like a hug. I want you to be able to, come in and be comfortable and sit on the floor, and all the materials and the textures be something that feels inviting and cozy and welcoming. But yeah, I would say like there's a touch of whimsy and an edge to my design sense. But I would say it kind of falls into an eclectic, maybe modern folk type style, with lots of earthy tones, but I'm not afraid of color. I think that's something that as you grow up, I think a lot of people maybe lose their sense in that love of color, and it's something I've like fought to keep. And so you'll see throughout my home lots of little moments of color, even if it's more earthy tones. It's something that brings me a lot of joy. I love pattern, I love texture. And yeah, I would say that's kind of my personal style. But it was really fun. When we first moved in here, I made a brief. So during the day, I work in advertising as a creative strategist, and I write creative briefs all the time. And I made a creative brief for this apartment to kind of help direct my kind of just like my journey and my viewpoint on how I would blend some of that San Francisco sensibility, some of that beautiful Victorians mixed with the, gorgeous nature and the really unique history of San Francisco, and be able to kind of immerse myself in all of that and appreciate that while blending it with my personal style. So that was a really fun process to kind of go through creating a brief for this space. And I created it. I looked at it maybe one more time and didn't look at it again. Just kind of let my gut lead the process of designing. I often create mock-ups of what I want a room to look like, and I would say for the most part they really do end up in the end looking quite similar to that initial vision, which I think just goes to show that I know what I want and then I create it. Okay, so once you walk into my apartment, you are greeted by this kind of entryway table area I've set up here. I've had really fun designing this area of my home. So I first got this beautiful mirror. It's from an artist that I found on eBay, actually. He makes these, traditional Mexican punched tin mirrors. And so I got this mirror. It was one of the first things I got when I moved in. I just fell in love with it. And I took a very long time, finding pieces that would complement it and I wanted something that would be cool enough, worthy enough to be close to this mirror, but not overwhelm it. So I was able to find this incredible console table on Facebook Marketplace, and I drove to Sacramento which if you're in the Bay, you know it's a bit of a drive to pick this up. And it's an incredible postmodern laminate table. I love the shape, I love the color. You'll see that there's certain colors I gravitate toward, and kind of this rich burgundy tone is definitely one of them. And so I love the way like the curves of the mirror, like, you know, kind of reflect the curves in the table. I absolutely love that. And then I recently added these beautiful sconces here, from another artist, Pink Lemon Ceramics, and she makes these beautiful, beautiful sconces. They're handmade and fired. I didn't light them, so we'll light them now. But they're really unique pieces, and I love all of her work. And I thought that these would really complement, you know, kind of the spiky shapes of the mirror, add another color into the mix. You know, absolutely. The blue was a choice. Like initially I wanted to go for something maybe a bit more neutral, but I really wanted this place to feel like an art piece, and I thought going with the blue would really kind of bring that vibrancy out. I remember talking to my sister about it, like looking at all the color options, and she really helped to convince me that this was the color that would really help to kind of, you know, make this feel like a really interesting place as soon as you walk into my apartment. So yeah, absolutely love this area. And a lot of time and effort went into, a lot of patience went into creating it. So super happy with that. And then my kitchen is to the right of the entryway area. So, you know, I will say, like, when I first moved in here, I did not love the kitchen. It's very functional, which is great. You know, function is, of course, a part of good design. But there were things I didn't love about it, but I do love the little things I've done to make it more my own. So, first, you know, I talked about putting magnets on your fridge. I absolutely love, you know, being able to, I started collecting magnets, and so anytime I travel, I'll get a magnet, and I've absolutely loved just, you know, sharing those bits and pieces on my fridge, sharing, you know, my friends, my family, really special memories. I just got this piece in Norway on that trip I mentioned, and it's done in like a traditional way of like the Bronze Age people in Norway, which were also Vikings. And I learned that I have direct Viking heritage, which is kind of a fun and interesting thing to learn. And I also learned I'm like related to a female Viking warrior, which is really cool. So I love having that up and like reminding me of how cool she probably was. And then I think my other favorite part of the kitchen really is my tea station. So I am a big tea drinker. I don't drink coffee, and I have green tea every single morning. And so I loved kind of creating an area where I could display my favorite mugs and my favorite teas. You know, even this little detail, my friend whittled me this beautiful spoon, which takes a lot of time and effort, but even just being able to have that little piece displayed with my tea area, I absolutely love. You know, a lot of these mugs are from my travels and from really special places, special people. So I love, you know, I always like to say your mugs don't want to be in a shelf, you know, or in a cupboard. Your mugs want to be on display, especially if they're cute, especially if they hold memories. I think it's really beautiful to be able to display them. So yeah, I love this area of my kitchen. I like my tea, like I'm a tea drinker, like a person who likes just black coffee. That's me with tea. So I don't add anything into it. Sometimes a cinnamon stick, sometimes. But no, I really just use the tea, and yeah, it just like, I feel like it connects me to the earth. I love the smells. I love the earthiness of it. You know, so many teas have like incredible benefits. It's a ritual, honestly, in my life that grounds me every single morning. And I absolutely love just kind of having that moment to myself before I get started into my workday, into whatever I'm doing that day, to just like have a warm cup of tea, breathe in like the hot water, and have that time to myself. So yeah, I absolutely love kind of making a bit of a shrine to tea in my home, because it really is super special to me and is one of the few moments of the day, honestly, that I get to just sit and breathe and yeah, have that moment to myself. So yeah, my tea station. So here we have my breakfast nook. You know, I think in small spaces, when I first came into this apartment, I, you know, saw that the living room was connected to where, you know, the dining needed to be happening, right? So like my living room and my dining room aren't disconnected. I don't have like a little eating area or eat-in kitchen or anything like that. So I had to get creative with how to design a space that would hold both my living room and my dining area. And so I just immediately thought, you know, this is a corner. It's kind of a weird corner. I was like struggling with exactly how to design it. And then I looked through a lot of inspiration online. I love Pinterest. I was all over Pinterest and really landed on the idea of a dining nook. And I'm super glad I did, because this is the coziest, just like most lovely place. It's one of my favorite places in my home, and I've really enjoyed making it mine and designing it. So the actual dining set, believe it or not, is from Amazon. Surprisingly, I looked through every dining set you could think of online, and this one checked the most boxes for me. It was the correct dimensions. I really liked kind of the detail, like the curves of the legs, and the character really felt, you know, like it would fit in kind of my more historical San Francisco apartment. And so, yeah, I love, you know, this area. I wanted to make it charming, but not like too charming, if that makes sense. I didn't want to go like full grandma. I still wanted there to be elements that felt, you know, like my design sense. So I added some of these stripy custom cushions, and these were really great. Honestly, before I had cushions, my legs would fall asleep every single time I sat on this. So this was a huge come up to have cushions. It's, yeah, way more comfortable with the cushions. It was interesting online. I asked like, you know, I kind of was struggling to figure out how to finish this area, and I asked for people's opinions, which I often love being able to, you know, ask for that and get people's thoughts. And I got some great suggestions, and so I really now feel like this place is finished. You know, I toyed around with staining the color of this for a long time, but I'm just gonna leave it. I think it works really well with like the floor colors and the other tones in my apartment. And this beautiful art piece is from an artist I absolutely love named Antonia. You'll see another one of her pieces in my bedroom. And she created this piece, Aki, really with this sentiment behind it. It's kind of, she said it was an ode to people that build a home away from home. And as someone who grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, went to LA for school, lived in New York for 4 years, and now is in San Francisco, I know both the joy and the pain of rebuilding a home again and again and again, not just your physical space, but your community, your relationships, just like your acclimation to a new place. So I absolutely love the meaning behind that piece. And it was in my Brooklyn apartment. It was one of the few things that I did bring from my Brooklyn apartment to my San Francisco apartment. And it's a really, really special piece to me. And I just absolutely love that sentiment behind it. The kind of lamb taking a leap is kind of about that leap of faith that you have to make those decisions in life. And yeah, so I absolutely love that. When it came to kind of designing this little corner, I put this beautiful lamp from Wooge. They do like 3D, what do you call it? Like 3D printed lamps, sustainably made. So I loved putting that one in the corner. It's actually inspired by the pattern and shape of a whale. And being close to the ocean here in San Francisco and being a big whale lover myself, I absolutely loved that lamp. And the shape, I think, is beautiful. And then this candelabra is from a market in Mexico. The artist, I got to talk to her for a while, and she really showed me her full process of taking the clay from the ground in the forest and then bringing it out and smashing it with her feet to make it, you know, into a malleable material. And so that's like one of my favorite pieces in this apartment is that candelabra because, you know, it's handmade, it's, you know, there's a story attached to it. And I absolutely, I absolutely loved just getting to know that artist and being able to bring one of her pieces into my home. So that really kind of helped round out this area. Really, my career path has been an interesting one. I, in college, actually, with my best friend, started an art magazine. It's a zine called Trash Mag. It's actually still a thing, which is really cool. But I ran that with her for 7 years, and it really, we were able to create and be a part of such an amazing creative community, and it really brought me into kind of the world of really needing to have creative community no matter what city I'm living in. We started that in LA, and then I moved to New York, and now I'm in San Francisco, and those creative communities have been really important to me. And then for my day job, I work in advertising as a creative strategist, and I've been doing that for about 4 years now. And there's a lot that I've been able to kind of take from my advertising job into real life into my advertising job. I think it's kind of an interesting relationship, and I love the people I work with. I think it's just a really great place. Like, if you're a creative person, having the stability has been really nice for me. And really, when it comes to content creation, I've always been super passionate about interiors, about design. My parents are like interiors obsessed people. I think a good example is whenever we're, staying at an Airbnb together as a family, we walk in, and within the first 10 minutes, my parents are talking about how they would rearrange the furniture, or this color would have worked better here, or they from a very young age have trained me to really appreciate design and to look at spaces kind of. They've taught me a lot of the rules of design, but also have given me the confidence to break them with intention and be able to play with design, which I'm super grateful for. They're incredible people. And so, it's always been a big passion of mine. I can even think back to college, my dorm rooms were spaces that my friends wanted to hang out in, and they were I would put a lot of time and effort into my dorm room design, which was just a fun thing. But I really didn't start sharing, you only knew if I was obsessed with, interiors if you were in my space. I didn't really start sharing about that passion until less than a year ago online. During my move, so I was in Brooklyn, and we got the news, okay, we decided we're moving to San Francisco, and we needed to sell everything. We weren't in the position to be able to pay to move everything. And so we thought, okay, the best thing is to sell what we have, take our, everything else in suitcases, valuables, things like that. And so I listed the entire apartment, my Brooklyn apartment, on Facebook Marketplace, and got a lot of responses back, a lot of messages, and ultimately, this one woman took the entire apartment, basically almost every single thing in it, and replicated it into her Brooklyn apartment as she was moving to Brooklyn. So that worked out very, very well. But the fact that she wanted to replicate, the same space I had designed in her own space kind of was an aha moment for me. I think that whole process of people weren't just on Facebook Marketplace, saying, oh, I'd love that chair. They were like, where did you get that? Or how did you design this? Or can you tell me more about this piece? And I just didn't think that it'd be something people were as interested in. But I took that as okay, I've, toyed with the idea of sharing more about my passion, but, really that was kind of the catalyst of okay, that response was very meaningful to me, and we're making that move to San Francisco. It felt like a big transition in my life, a time to, I think moves are a great time to kind of make some of those changes in your life, and so I was I'm gonna start sharing about my passion online, and yeah, it's been almost a year, and it's been incredible. I think there's so much that content creation can bring to people's lives, especially sharing about their passions, kind of creating that outlet I think so many of us, work 9-to-5 jobs or service jobs or things that you're not able to have that outlet to really, express yourself or even have a voice. And I think content creation has really done that for me, and it's been truly so much fun. I think the most special thing is that I've met people, I've made friends, I've talked to so many people with similar interests to me, and like making that connection and that community is real. Of course, like there's this online element that sometimes feels kind of at a bit of an arm's length, but I feel like I've really been able to, create so many relationships online and create a bit of a community, and I'm super, super proud of that and super happy that it's something I get to be a part of. And it's been super fun, and the response has been very overwhelming, and it really, is super impactful for me. It's not something I take for granted, and I can't wait to just keep sharing. I think this apartment is finally, in a place where I'd say it's like done, even though it's never really done. So I'm really excited to kind of share that. I've been, sharing that process of designing it, and so for it to be in a place now where I feel like it's, I feel satisfied with it, feels really good, and excited to keep sharing as I continue to make tweaks to this place, and super happy to have a platform to do so. Okay, welcome to my living room. I absolutely loved creating this space. I love designing living rooms. There truly is nothing like a good sofa. There's nothing like a good accent chair or a good coffee table. And having those three sing together just like is so satisfying to me. I absolutely love it. And I love how this room has come together. Moving to San Francisco, I was super inspired by the Redwood Forest. I think, living so close to the tallest living beings on the planet is really special. And so I was very inspired by the color palette of the Redwood Forest. So I went with kind of this mossy green for this rug. And then for my sofa, went with this rust color, which I absolutely love. This is truly like the most comfortable sofa, and I love how low profile this whole room is. I love how like bottom heavy it is. Everything's really weighted. There's not much, space for air to pass underneath the furniture. I just love that grounded feeling. Kind of like being in a redwood forest, that like grounded sense. And so, this sofa is from a brand called Pafutic, and you can basically like move these pieces really easily, and this slides out. You can make it into a bed to watch TV. People can sleep on it. You can like move this piece to the corner so it becomes kind of a conversation pit or like a playpen almost, like just to kind of hang out. And I think it's something that does make my house feel like a home because it's really comfortable. It's very, multi-use and functional. So I really, really love this sofa. And then these art pieces are from Desenio, and I absolutely love these. They are quite new to my apartment, and they're actually canvas art prints. So they're not actually paintings, which is pretty cool. True original paintings can be really, really expensive. So I think this can be a great alternative. And basically both of these two pieces are Arthur Dove. And he's kind of regarded as the first like abstract American painter. And so I love to think about how at the time that these, came out, it would have been pretty wild to see something like this, to see such an abstract work, maybe a bit controversial. And so I think it's kind of cool to have, a bit of an ode to people taking that risk for the love of their creativity, thinking outside the box. And so both of these are kind of like nature-inspired pieces to complement kind of that redwood forest vibe that I'm trying to create in this room. And yeah, there's a lot of like 70s vibes happening as well here. This is my magazine rack. I absolutely love being able to, as a lover of all things print publication, being able to display some of my favorite issues. I mentioned that my friend and I started a zine. This is one of our favorite issues right here. So just having some of those print publications, easy access, so I can plop down on the sofa, open up, one of my favorite magazines or zines, and just like enjoy sitting here. It's something I love. It definitely makes the space feel more like me to have something I'm so passionate about, on the wall. And then moving to kind of the bay window area here, this is something I really wanted in a San Francisco apartment, was beautiful bay windows. I think they're so stunning. The way that light kind of filters through them is so beautiful. And so these accent chairs, it was interesting kind of figuring out like how to design a bay window space. Some people have furniture that quite literally like fits into a bay window. Some people put plants in them. I love the kind of dual accent chairs. And these do swivel, so I'm able to like look out the window. My partner and I like often sit here. You can make them face each other. It's just a really lovely area to kind of be sun-drenched with a book, with a cup of tea. And these accent chairs actually I found on Facebook Marketplace, and it's kind of an interesting story. This woman, this was her, so I talked to her children, and basically they said that these chairs were one of their mother's, only things that she ever really bought for herself in her whole life, which is really special. And they've been in like all of the homes that she's had. She's kept it through her whole life. And she even, when it came time to reupholster them, she reupholstered them in this same kind of gold velour, which her kids hated. But I love that she like stuck to what she liked, and she kept, obviously it was a very special piece to her. And I think that is the beauty of secondhand furniture. There's beautiful stories attached to it. And I think if you're able to find something, that had a story before you, and if you're able to give it a second life and continue that story, it's a really beautiful thing. And furniture can hold a lot of memories and emotions. And I think these chairs are a great example of that. And they're also just super functional, and they fit perfectly in my bay windows, and I was super excited to bring them in. We did need to hire a TaskRabbit with a crowbar to get them out of the crates that they were in, which was a whole thing, but that's part of when you get secondhand furniture. It can be a process, but it really makes it worth it. So love, love, love these chairs. They're super comfortable. And then in between them, when you don't have a little table, you can just have a stack of books. So that's what I did here. And I think it works just fine. I honestly did it there. Like initially I put the stack of books to just like have a little bit of a table, a little side table, but I just decided to keep it because it works just fine. So on top of my little stack of books, we have this beautiful shell lighthouse lamp. And so this is also, I feel like I keep saying this is like one of my favorite pieces in my home. I think you can tell that I love a lot of pieces in my home, but this piece is really special to me. It's an abalone shell lighthouse lamp, and I got it at this consignment store in northern Minnesota in one of my favorite little towns on earth called Grand Marais. And there's a beautiful lighthouse close to Grand Marais. And what I have come to realize about this lamp is that it is meant to be the northern lights, and the way that the lighthouse plays with the northern lights, and it just creates the most beautiful colors. It's really magical, really whimsical, and it reminds me of my home, Minnesota, and where I grew up, and it's a really special piece. It's also handmade. I can tell by the way things were put together. So this is another secondhand piece that I absolutely love, being able to bring something from my home state of Minnesota, from a small town of Grand Marais that I absolutely love and am really like emotionally attached to, into my home. And just the northern lights are incredible. Who doesn't love a lighthouse and the northern lights? So yeah, absolutely love kind of having this as like the centerpiece of this room in between my bay windows. So this is my coffee table. It's my first piece of furniture that I've ever designed that's in real life. I have plenty of sketches in my notebook, but This is my first piece of furniture that is real in my home. I absolutely love it. This is version 1. I am currently working on a version 2 that's more of a brushed stainless steel material, just to kind of compare how the light plays with it, you know, kind of the functionality of it. But I worked with this great company called Terra to help produce it. They kind of are trying to help content creators be able to, you know, not just make income from selling other people's products through affiliate links, but also being able to create their own products. You know, a lot of content creators were touching products a lot, brands are sending us products, and a lot of us have ideas of our own for, you know, how to, a lot of us have product ideas of our own. So being able to, you know, I love Terra for having that mission and like, you know, being a company that wants to help content creators make their dreams come true. So basically, I'm really into furniture design right now. It's something that I'm really passionate about. And being able to have a custom piece in this space is really, really great. And kind of the thought is that I'll be able to, you know, not just have this for me, but be able to share it on a store of some kind, and being able to, yeah, share it with my community online. So really happy with this piece. I designed it specifically for small spaces. So I wanted it to be pretty compact, not too big, but also be, you know, kind of a statement piece in a room. It really reflects light beautifully, but also depending on the time of day and the lighting, it kind of disappears in a really cool way. It reflects rugs in a really cool way. It reflects the tree outside my window, bringing even more greenery into my space. So it's kind of an optical illusion sometimes and has a cool effect to it. So I absolutely love this piece and I'm really proud of it. And I look forward to continuing to make my furniture designs real. So I'm starting to work on a few more right now, so really excited. But this piece on the coffee table is a tea set that my parents gave me as a housewarming gift for my first ever New York City apartment. So I've had this for many years. It's a very special piece. And yeah, again, they know I love tea, so that was a great gift. But yeah, having a piece, something that my parents gave me to kind of house warm my first apartment ever, is really special, and I love being able to carry that through all the apartments that I've lived in, all the homes that I've been in. So that is this area. And next we can talk about my credenza a bit here. I know I talked about TVs already. I think it's tough, like they're pretty ugly, but I think that you can, you know, there are ways. I think in this space, for example, I use this beautiful umbrella tree to kind of hide, you know, as you walk into the space, you don't see the side of the TV, you see the umbrella tree. So that is kind of a way that I've been able to hide some of the synthetic black holeness that is a TV. But, you know, people do all sorts of fancy creative things, you know, to kind of hide their TVs. And I've just decided, I'm just gonna leave it for now. You know, this is where I watch TV. And I do think it makes my space feel a bit more homey and like I actually live here. So I'm just leaving it here for now. But if anyone does have real good ideas for how to make it look better, please let me know. But yeah, so it's sitting on this credenza. This is actually the IKEA Basta TV unit. And so I got this from IKEA. When I first moved here, I just really needed something to put my TV on, and I love the really simple silhouette, again, that like grounded, really bottom heavy, low profile design for this room. Fit very well into the design for this room. But I ended up actually covering it in contact paper, so it's actually white, but I covered the whole thing in a big sticker, basically. And I almost had a mental breakdown one time, and then I finally looked up how to do it, which I should have done that first. And then I figured out how to use contact paper. And, you know, as someone who's renting, I think contact paper can be a great option. It's very renter friendly. And, you know, I think it's something that I had a bit of an aversion to contact paper at first. I didn't love the syntheticness of it. But I think if you have a piece of furniture and you would like it more by putting contact paper on it, I think it's a great way to reuse a piece that you already have instead of buying something new. And so I was really close to buying a new credenza that was honestly like way too expensive. So I really enjoyed being able to just use something that I already had. I already loved the shape of it. I just didn't love the color. So being able to cover it in contact paper, I just had to be very patient, but I'm really, really happy with the result. It's definitely one of my favorite DIYs because it saved me all the money I would have spent on a new credenza. So yeah, very happy with this. And then I'll point out this little detail. These are kind of funny, but my partner's sister made these little figurines of me and my partner meditating together. And I just think it's really cute and silly, and I love that she did that and that I have them in my home. So there we are. I used to be blonde, not anymore. One of the first things I actually felt like I nailed with this room was the lighting. So I really went for very soft circular shapes in this room. And I love this floor lamp. So simple, just a simple globe lamp, but I love the way it adds this kind of medium, kind of like eye level lighting to the room. And then I added this paper lantern. Is literally like $10, but that's the beauty of paper lanterns. They add such a softness and they're so affordable. And I love the kind of diffuse light that you get through it. And this, I have very scary ceiling lights in my apartment that give off the worst hospital level fluorescence you could think of. And so we do not turn those on, we turn these on. So I did want some light coming from above. I didn't want to just rely on like floor lighting. So that's why I added this beautiful paper lantern. And then in my credenza, I added a little lamp as well to kind of light up that space. That's another Wooge 3D printed lamp that's meant to look like a paper lantern. I love it. I think it's really a nice way to kind of light up something down below. And so I think, when it comes to lighting, having like 1, 2, 3, like bringing your eye through the space that way, I really enjoy that in my spaces. So yeah, I would say that's a good thing with lighting. So, and then over here to add even more light down on the ground, I have this big globe lamp, which I absolutely love. And it just adds a nice soft glow, kind of, to bring that light, again, like I was saying, at different levels. So from the ceiling, eye level, and then on the ground. So I really love that this does that. And it really complements kind of the spikiness of my Dracaena marginata tree. I absolutely love this floor plant. It's one of my favorite houseplants. I had one in New York. Now my friend has it. And I was able to get this one from Facebook Marketplace. I found a lady that delivers plants on Facebook Marketplace, which is incredible. So yeah, I absolutely love this plant, and my plants are very happy in the San Francisco weather, which is awesome. But I love kind of the contrast between such a spiky plant and such a round lamp. So I don't know if like there's that design thing or the design words of Kiki and Booba. So like Kiki is spiky and Booba is like round. And I love playing really throughout my whole home in like juxtaposing Kiki and Booba shapes to kind of, make sure that things aren't too spiky and too sharp, but not too soft either. So that is that area. Welcome to my bedroom. There's lots of great windows in here, which I love. It does face the interior of my building. It's very quiet, which is awesome. But yeah, this is my bedroom. I had a lot of fun designing this space. We've got a little desk area right here. This desk is one of my prized Facebook Marketplace finds as well. It's absolutely beautiful. I love all the character on it and all the little drawers. It's just like such a beautiful piece and super functional. And then this is a beautiful print that my sister got me. from Anna Fusco, Lord Cowboy. I love the sentiment of just like, I didn't have to rush. It feels right for a bedroom. Feels like we're slowing down and having something calming. I did install actually throughout the apartment, you'll notice these Roman shades. I did install these because I absolutely love the warmth that they bring. There wasn't any window treatments in here to begin with, so I had to bring my own. Of course, being a renter, sometimes that happens. You have to install your own curtains or shades. So I do absolutely love these Roman shades for that warmth, and they filter light really nicely too. So this is kind of the main area of my bedroom. I absolutely love this dresser. I love how simple it is and it's just super functional. This is probably my favorite lamp. I don't know, it's hard. I love a lot of my lamps, but this I think is probably my favorite lamp. It's from Urban Outfitters actually, but I love just like the blobby shape that it is and the way that it brings a really warm glow into my bedroom. Absolutely love this piece. And then really for when it comes to bedroom design, I initially wanted to go with like very oceanic tones in this room, which they still exist in here. Of course, you still see, the rug is this like beautiful ocean blue, and my linen duvets kind of got this sandy tone to it. But I initially just had those pieces and it felt like something was missing. And I really do think like red is such an interesting color when you feel like something is missing. It can add that warmth, that vibrance, that boldness. And I think with a lot of bedroom design, I think people feel pressure to go very neutral, very calm, which like totally fine if that is what you love. Like definitely do that. But I think for me, I wanted to have a little bit more fun in my bedroom, and not that you can't have fun with neutrals, but I wanted to play with color in here. And so I added this beautiful, red quilt from Schoolhouse. I love the pattern. It feels homey. It feels like something that, maybe was in a family for generations. I don't know. I absolutely love the pattern and the color that this brings into my room. I love like red and blue together. You saw that in my dining nook, or you'll see that in my dining nook as well. So I loved adding this quilt. It's also great for summer months to have a quilt for when it gets hotter. So I really enjoyed adding the red through this quilt and then through my sconces that you'll see on either side of my bed. I have these red sconces, and they're great because you can move them around, you can pull it out, you can read with it. They're really great and truly added, that pop of red that I didn't know I needed in this room, and I'm really glad I added it in. So I love this, and sconces honestly are great if you are living in a smaller space, or your nightstands are a bit smaller and you don't have space to put a lamp on them. You really want to utilize the surface of your nightstand. Sconces are great because they're on the wall, so you don't have to put them on your nightstand. And then I paired all of this together with this piece by Antonia, the same artist that did the Aki piece in my dining nook. This is another one of her great pieces, and I love the energy that this brings to the room. I think I kind of want to show that like in bedroom design, you really can, like, colors don't have to be loud or disruptive in a bedroom. They can be calming, they can add warmth and interest and a bit of playfulness, which I think just is perfect for a bedroom. So yeah, I love this space. So here I have some of my, favorite pieces. This was my grandma's purse, so I love to just have this, and I actually like to use it. I think, it's hard when you get a piece from a loved one that has passed. It's tough to use it. You don't want to lose it, you don't want to break it, but I like to think that she'd like me to be using it. So I absolutely love this bag. My sister got me this bag, which is a really special one as well. And then this is just like my everyday tote. I feel like it's interesting because I feel like this tote includes like all my favorite colors that you see throughout my apartment. And I think that's true. When you like truly find yourself loving colors and you find them around your apartment, you'll find them in your clothes and in your bags as well, because you just love them. So I think it's just funny when I bring something into the apartment and I'm like, oh, it matches my tote bag again. Over here, on top of my dresser, we have a couple special pieces. This was a gift from a friend. It is a camera that was converted to a lamp. I love lamps so much, and this is just a really cool one that it was converted into a lamp. And I love taking film photos myself. I have a couple of my cameras in my nightstand, and so it's definitely another passion of mine, so it's fun to have it on display. And then this piece I actually made for my partner for our 5-year anniversary, and it's some of them are like real matchboxes that I had, and then some of the other ones I just designed. And so essentially I put together a bit of a composition of matchboxes from our favorite restaurants and kind of special restaurants. Like I put the one we had our first date and other places that we have had like special dates or special memories. So that is a nice sentimental piece to have in our bedroom. I think it's hard to choose like one thing that I really, really love, like one piece I love about this apartment. Maybe I'll name a few. But I think that I love that I've truly taken time to make this space. I think in the past I've designed my apartments on a whim. I haven't maybe been as patient enough to like allow the creative process to unfold. And you know, it's been a year and I just am now feeling like I am getting to a place where it feels a bit more finished. And so I think I love that I took the patience to design, and I would say I love like a lot of the personal touches in this apartment. So, you know, my design taste is a bit sentimental. It's very personal. You'll see, you know, photos of my family. You'll see photos of me and my partner, art that I've made, art that, you know, my friends have made in my home. And I think for me, that's, you know, anyone can put together a space, but it's those personal touches that really make it yours. And so, yeah, I think those personal touches and that kind of sentimentality is what I really love about this place. And of course, like I love that the apartment itself has a lot of character. It's got the bay windows, it's got the wood floors. And then I would say if I were to pick like a couple pieces that I really, really love, I'd say some of my favorite ones are in the living room. I truly believe the living room is like the heart of the home. I love designing living rooms, and I think obviously the sofa that I'm sitting on I absolutely love. It's a modular sofa where it can become a sofa bed, it can become a conversation pit. I love playing Catan, and so I've played lots of games of Catan on this with my friends. And it's just it's like a beautiful rust color, is that perfect kind of like redwood color that I was talking about that I was able to bring into my home. And it's just super comfortable, and I'm really, really happy with this piece. And then this coffee table, my coffee table in the living room, I'm really proud of as well because I actually designed it and I actually recently got it. I worked with an incredible company called Terra to help produce it, but it's really my first piece of furniture that I've ever designed. I have lots of ideas and lots of sketches, but this one is now real, and I'm super, super proud of it and excited to keep testing out versions of it. But this first one I absolutely love, and I designed it specifically for small spaces. And kind of to be low profile, and something that can really it almost disappears with the reflection of the stainless steel, the chrome, it kind of disappears, which is kind of a nice touch for smaller spaces as well. But yeah, I'm really proud of that piece, and yeah, I would say that's definitely a prized possession for me in this home and something that I really love. Okay, welcome to my home office slash guest room, but it's primarily a home office. This space actually is it was a brainchild between my partner and I, because he uses this space mostly. And so I thought it was a fun opportunity to, really blend our design sensibilities. He tends to prefer more minimalist design. I'm somewhere in the middle, maybe like a minimalist. But this is really like an overlap of our design sensibilities. A bit more like wabi-sabi, very grounded, very earthy, a little more minimal, you know, maybe not as vibrant in color per se, but still has, you know, a lot of that cozy warmth to it. And I just think that this room is absolutely beautiful, and it's been really fun kind of designing it with my partner in mind. And he's been a huge help, honestly, with this entire apartment. He's been like such an incredible help behind the scenes, whether it's taking a sofa like this into a U-Haul from Facebook Marketplace or installing, you know, shades and things like that. He's just been such a big help. And yeah, so I love this room so much. This sofa is from Facebook Marketplace. It's an Eclectic Amigo 3-seater. It's authentic vintage. Super comfortable. I love the cognac leather. It's just got such a gorgeous color. And I love kind of more of the sleek mid-century look of it. And then it was really, I wanted to pair it with something really earthy, so I went with a jute rug in here, you know. And then this coffee table, I love the kind of playfulness of the waves. I think it's just absolutely beautiful and really kind of complements maybe some of the more sleek, minimal shapes in this space. And then this beautiful bench here is reclaimed pine. It's from June Laloy. It's absolutely beautiful. I just love the kind of character of it, all the imperfections. I think, you know, with this room, I really wanted to take more of a wabi-sabi approach. And I think this bench is a great example of, you know, embracing the beauty and imperfections. And I love that it kind of brings more of this deeper wood tone into the space. You also see I added a paper lantern here, went with more of an oval in this space. And I absolutely love the way that it diffuses that soft, warm glow and brings overhead light that isn't offensive. So yeah, I absolutely love kind of the shape that this brings to the space and the glow that it brings as well. And then this is actually a Scandinavian design chair. This sofa is also Scandinavian design. And so love kind of having a couple Scandinavian design pieces in the same space to kind of see the way that they communicate. And then this rug is from Mexico, adds some of that warmth. It does add a bit of color into the space. And it's actually beautiful. I was talking to the man that makes these rugs, and yeah, the way that he, you know, dyes things so naturally, and there's just so many beautiful ones. So love adding, you know, you don't always think that a rug can be on the wall, but it can. It can be a beautiful way to bring some color and texture and warmth to a room. So yeah, this space is like kind of a work in progress. It's mostly done, but there's some things I want to keep adding to it. You know, I've been in this space not even a year, and you know, I came from New York with just my suitcases with my clothes and some sentimental items. So really everything you see in my entire home has been acquired over the last year. So there's more to come in this room, but you know, hopefully you'll follow along online and can see how this ends up in here. I'm really excited, and I love the progress that's happened so far. I think it brings a kind of a nice, slower, calmer feel in the home, which I think is actually fun for an office. I think offices can be pretty stark. And so having an office that feels really homey was a goal of mine. Because, you know, it's not always an office. We use this for when our guests come as well. So, and for us living in it, we want to be able to enjoy a space that feels homey. So this is the desk, like the actual desk space. You've got a great view of the windows. And my partner is a DJ, so he loves to DJ here. He's got his deck and his speakers. And then this is a personal piece as well. This is also from Desenio. It's a photo of the first block that me and my partner lived on together in New York. It's just such a sentimental peace, and we love New York so much, and just we miss it so much too. It's such an incredible city. It's so magical, and so being able to have a piece of that in our San Francisco home is really special for us. And yeah, I just love New York. And the colors honestly play really well off the cognac leather of the sofa and some of the other pieces in this space. So I love to have photos. And I think it's something like, of course, you can add smaller photos, but I think it's good to know that you can like blow up a film photo and put it on your wall and put a nice frame with it. It's a great kind of a way to add some more personal art to your home. It's funny because I was like, there's some little details that I think can make a house a home. It can be down to the tiny details of like having magnets on your fridge, showing family photos, like those things can really make it yours. Even, there's big debates online and just in the design community about like what to do with TVs. And I think that was something I definitely like struggled with when I first was moving in here and designing the living room, because I love this space, but then like there's a TV, and TVs are like pretty ugly and big, and it's like this weird black hole in a room. But I actually think that they also make houses feel homier. And so I've decided to just leave it. I think, I've played around with doing things with it. Obviously, if I lived in a large home with a TV room, maybe I would like chuck it in there. But I think, most people don't have a TV room. I think having your TV out where you actually watch TV is totally fine. It's sometimes those little details that actually, I think, make a house feel more like a home. But truly, like, it's the people in it, it's the people that you invite over, it's your friends, your family that come to stay. It's, those details, having things on the walls and in your space that you're passionate about. Things like, for example, I have this magazine rack, and I absolutely love print publications, print materials. Like I mentioned, I have always, I started my own zine with my friend, and then I've been involved with lots of zines. I'm involved with a local zine in San Francisco. And a zine essentially is like a mini magazine that is usually small distribution, very DIY. Typically there's a topic, and they're kind of community created. And they've really been a way that I've found creative community in all the cities I've lived in. And so having a magazine rack where I can display my zines, my magazines, just, things that I'm truly passionate about, having it easy access, I think is something that makes a house a home as well. It makes it you. And I think that's something that I always really try to stress, when I'm talking about design is, finding like, it's so easy to copy and paste everything you see online. But I think finding what makes you happy, whether it's like, those are the blinds that were in my grandma's house, or that chair reminds me of that chair that was in that little vacation, place that I would go to when I was younger. I think bringing in those influences and like allowing yourself to get sentimental and nostalgic and bring those things in, or, like this is, in my childhood home, there was this beautiful painting, and now this painting reminds me of that. Those little details, I think, are truly what make a house yours, and I think that's what makes a house a home.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.